on chapter 1. Pretty big book. Antiquity. Noun. Ancient times, often used in reference to Greek and Roman civilizations. Civilizations of antiquity have much to teach us today. Anthias. Noun. The opposite or highest possible contrast. Anthias refers to the exact opposite of a given thing. Anthias is also the name of a form in rhetoric in which two ideas are contrasted dramatically. We will live as heroes or die in the attempt. Mr. Brown, haggard, unkempt, and exhausted, look like the very Anthias, the charismatic achiever we heard about. Antonym. Noun. A word having an opposite meaning to that of another word. Rapid and slow are antonyms. Apathy. Noun. The state of not caring or seeming not to care. One way or the other, how a situation resolves itself. Because the characters weren't very convincing, their peril made me feel little more than empathy. Ape. Verb. To imitate someone else's characteristic manners and voice, etc. Joey got suspended after ape the teachers pronounced limp. Apex. Noun. The highest point. The apex of Dawn's career came when her novel was made into a mini-series starring Elizabeth Taylor as the heroine. Aplomb. Noun. A sense of self-possession and calm amidst chaos. The police chief showed remarkable aplomb amid the noise and confusion of the riot. Apocalyptic. Adjective. Having to do with revelation or prophecy. Also presaging imminent destruction or disaster. Apparel. Noun. Clothing. Something worn. After sweating through class after class in the heavy wool uniform, I wanted to march in the principal's office and demand to know why shorts were considered inappropriate apparel for school. Apparition. Noun. A ghostly figure, something appearing to be a ghost. The apparition waved its special hands and emitted a horrible moan. Appease. Verb. To placate, to soothe or satisfy. I only wore the dress to appease my mother, who had made pointed comments all week about people who went to weddings dressed like slops. Apportion. Verb. To divide and distribute something in an equitable manner. I don't think we'll have any trouble apportioning the blame for this problem. There's plenty of blame to go around. Appraise. Verb. To estimate an item's value. See for comparison the entry for appraise. This desk has been in our family for over 100 years, and I wouldn't dream of selling it, so there's really no use in getting it appraised. It's there. Apprehension. Noun. Uneasiness about the future. Suspicion of impending bad fortune. Also, the act of arresting or stopping. Another sense of apprehension is idea or understanding. A vague feeling of apprehension came over Gordon as he stepped into the old house. Apprentice. Noun. One who is learning a trade or art form by assisting a veteran practitioner or professional. Uncle Jake offered to let me work as an apprentice in his plumbing business for the summer, but I had no interest in water pipes. Apprise, verb. To notify, to cause to be aware of. See for comparison the entry for appraise. Have you been apprised of the most recent news from home? Arbitrary. Adjective. Unregulated by law or reason. Determined by impulse. Arbitrary refers to decisions made not according to established procedures or laws, but purely through the discretion of an individual. It carries a sense of capricion or even lack of responsibility. The rules you have laid down for this contest are completely arbitrary and have no basis in past tournaments. Archival. Adjective. Of or pertaining to important records of our archives. After the lab fire, the scientist was less disturbed by the loss of equipment and samples than by the destruction of the contents of his archival vaults. A loss that set his work back at least 6 months. Ardent. Adjective. Intense, passionate, devoted, characteristic by high emotion. Ardent people show great enthusiasm for causes and people close to them. Barbara, an ardent stamp collector, has the most impressive collection of French stamps in the school. Arduous. Adjective. Requiring exceptional effort or care. Something is arduous if it is mentally or physically challenging, or if it pushes one to the limit of one's abilities. Stacy has been preparing all week for the arduous marathon competition. Aromatic. Adjective. Possessing a pleasant odor. An aromatic flower is one that is pleasing to the smell. Many sweet-scented things share a certain chemical structure known as an aromatic compound. The herbs lend what would have been an ordinary meal a satisfying aromatic touch. Ascend, verb. To climb or mount, especially a mountain. Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay were the first to ascend Mount Everest. Ascertain, verb. To find out something. Ascertain, verb. To find out something by experimenting or by making inquiries. Arriving to find the house locked and shuttered, I ascertained from the neighbors that my fiancé had loaded up a moving van and fled the day before. Ascribe, verb. To attribute or assign casual responsibility to a person or thing. Ascribing something to someone is acknowledging the responsibility or creation of it. This work has been ascribed to Rousseau, but his authorship now seems uncertain. Assent. Noun. To agree that an opinion, view, or proposal is correct. To concur, corroborate, or acquiesce. You forget, Mr. James, and that is only with the assent of the stockholders that the CEO can be ousted. Assertion. Noun. A positive statement or claim. An assertion is something claimed straightforwardly without support of evidence or logical justification. Your assertion that my car was at the scene of the crime has no basis in fact. Assimilate, verb. In general, to assimilate is to absorb knowledge, food, etc. But you may hear it in regards to immigration. In that sense, assimilate refers to the act of becoming similar to those already living in one's new environment. You're giving me so much new information that I'm having trouble assimilating all of it. Assuage, verb. To ease, to make less severe, to mitigate. Gary tried to assuage his grief at the loss of his lover by taking a long trip to Europe. Astute, adjective. Skilled. Quick to learn or grasp. shrewd, sharp-witted. Carl was an astute investor who knew when to follow the crowd and when to ignore it. Atrophy, verb, to shrivel or shrink from lack of use. After sitting around on the couch all summer, my leg muscles had atrophied so much that I had trouble walking to the mailbox. Attrition, noun. The gradual wearing down of something or the gradual reduction of a group. Often you'll hear this word used in connection with a company that is trying to reduce its workforce. The struggling company used a combination of early retirement incentives and attrition to reduce its workforce enough to continue to meet its payroll. Audacious, adjective, brazen, daring, or fearless. Audacious refers to bold, unrestrained, uncompromising behavior. It often carries a sense of bending, accepting rules, or disregarding prevailing standards. His audacious behavior at the family reunion shocked even his brothers and sisters. Auger, noun. A tool for drilling holes. See for comparison the entry for auger. I couldn't use my father's drill because the auger was missing. Augment, verb, to make bigger, increase, enhance. The evening's program, a series of soliloquies from Shakespeare, was augmented by a short reading from Bradley's notes on Hamilton. Aura, noun. A field of energy that some believe emanates from human beings. I'm sure Paul will be a successful politician because he exudes an aura of trust and dependability. Auspicious, adjective, promising, seemingly favorable, or likely. To be accompanied by fortune. Auspicious is usually used to describe encouraging signals or reasons for optimism at the beginning of an undertaking. The trip did not begin auspiciously. Our car broke down within an hour. Austere, adjective. Severe in appearance or nature, self-disciplined or strict to a high degree. An austere person is self-controlled and somber. That which is without ornamentation or luxury is austere. The interior of a monastery presented an appearance of austere beauty. Autism, noun. A condition in which the sufferer has difficulty with or indifference to social contact, residing almost exclusively in his or her own world. Often subjugated to abuse and inhumane treatment 2 or 3 decades ago, those suffering from autism are now more likely to receive a meaningful therapeutic regimen. Auxiliary, noun. Backup, reverse, extra. Don't panic, Mr. Forrest told his anxious staff after the office went black. The auxiliary power will come on at any minute now, and we'll be back in business. Avail, verb. To be of benefit or use. Someone whose actions are to no avail acts in vain. In November, we decided to avail ourselves of the opportunity for a vacation. Avid, adjective. Earnest, eager, passionate, and committed. Ralphie, an avid Pittsburgh Steelers fan, owned posters, pennants, hats, socks, jackets, shirts, sweatshirts, and underwear bearing his team's logo and colors, but his wife had drawn the line at a tattoo. Avoid, verb, to shun, to stay removed from. See for comparison the entry for evade. At all costs, avoid the chef's surprise at Trudy's Whistle Stop Cafe. Azure, adjective, the color of the sky on a clear day. Sky blue. His azure eyes and charming manner may attract women initially, but his conceited personality keeps him from staying interested for long. Baccalaureate. Now, the degree awarded baccalaureate. The degree awarded upon completion of an undergraduate course of study, a baccalaureate, also called a bachelor's degree. is a degree given to a college graduate. A bachelorette is also a farewell address to a graduating class. I received my bachelorette in 2003 from Brandeis University. Bach, verb. To hesitate and refuse to go forward. To prevent from accomplishing an aim, to stop oneself in order to consider whether or not to go on. In baseball, to perform an illegal maneuver in the delivery of a throw from the pitching mound, an instance of such an illegal delivery. At first, Mona balked at the suggestion that she would apply for the position in management. She did not like the idea of working late hours. Ballistics, noun. The study of projectiles and impacts. Each of the scientists working on the missile project has extensive experience in ballistics. Baritone, noun. The second deepest voice range on the scale, higher than the bass and deeper than the treble. Given his diminutive stature and shy demeanor, few suspected that Craig's powerful baritone would dominate the choir. Barometer, noun. An instrument that measures air pressure and aids in weather prediction. After a lesson on meteorology, Mr. Cantelli put a barometer up on the classroom's outer wall so that his students could practice predicting the weather. Barrage, noun. Concentrated outpouring or volley. A barrage is an overwhelming torrent of something, usually words, blows, or projectiles. The word was originally used only in a military sense. The defense attorney subjugated the witness to a barrage of questions about the events of that night. Bastion, noun. A stronghold or a bulwark for protection. Because he is so shy, Peter uses his genius-level intellect as a bastion to keep others at arm's length. Bazaar, noun. A marketplace, especially one in the open air. See for comparison the entry for bazaar. As Ned and I ambled through the bazaars of Casablanca, we kept an eye out for enemy agents. Beatific, adjective, having a saintly or angelic character or demeanor. Charlie's beatific smile always made me wonder what he was thinking about. Bedlam, noun. The popular name for London's Hospital of St. Mary's of Bethlehem was Bedlam. Since the hospital catered to the insane, Bedlam has come to denote any place or scene of uproar and confusion. I always do my best to stay focused on my work and to avoid the bedlam around the water cooler. Behemoth. Adjective. The Hebrew word appears in the Old Testament book of Job and refers to a large animal most biblical scholars believe was hippopotamus. At present, behemoth describes anything that has monstrous size or power. What the heck is wrong with Joe? Why did he buy that behemoth gas guzzler? Belated, adjective. Late or tardy, delayed. Belated refers to anything past due. Jane sent a belated birthday card but still felt guilty about forgetting her mother's birthday. Belligerent, adjective. Aggressive or pugnacious, eager to instigate a fight. Belligerent is rooted in the Latin word for war. Don't become overbearing and belligerent with his employee after his divorce, causing many of them to resign. Bemused, adjective. The quality of being bewildered, perplexed, or lost in reflection. A person who is preoccupied or confused by something is bemused. Victor stared bemused at the photograph of his father in full military dress, a man he had never thought of in quite that way. Benchmark. Noun. A standard by which to measure the exemplary performance or critique and a stunning orientation on human rights was recognized in our debating society as a benchmark for years afterwards. Benevolent. Adjective marked by a tendency to do good towards others kindly. A benevolent act is one in service to another. The word is derived from the Latin for good wishes. There is a benevolent side to Marv one would not expect to see in a man so apparently cold. Bequeath. Verb. Bestow by means of a will. Bequeath is often used metaphorically to describe something handed down to a group of people from those of a past era. More than anything else, it is the language we speak, bequeathed to us by Byron and Shakespeare and Milton and a legion of others, that binds us to the English and them to us. Bereaved. Adjective or noun. In the state of mourning, deeply sorrowful because of the loss of a loved one. As a noun, bereaved refers to a person in mourning and is usually preceded by the most difficult part of Father Maurice's job was providing solace for the bereaved in his parish. Besiege. Verb. To entreat, implore, request earnestly. Besiege is a formal verb used to request something. In contemporary use, it reflects either great or even fawning politeness or urgency of the highest order. We beseech you, Mr. Prime Minister, think twice before committing the lives of so many of our countrymen to this cause. Bestial. Adjective of pertaining to. Bestow. Verb. To confer or give. One bestows an award, honor, or degree. The verb is usually followed by on or upon. Though he lacked formal education, several universities has bestowed honorary degrees on Mr. Goldfarb. Betrothed. Verb. Engaged to be married. Also, as a noun, the person to whom one is engaged. Marissa is betrothed to the handsome young captain she met in Miami. Biopic. Noun. People disagree how this word, short for biographical motion picture, should be pronounced. No matter how you say the word biopic, it's a film based on the lives of real rather than fictional people. I was really impressed with the latest biopic until I found out that much of the film's storyline was factually inaccurate. Biopsy. Noun. An instance of taking samples of tissues, cells, or fluids from a living body and analyzing these samples. Dr. Smith thought the lump was probably a Beijan cyst, not a tumor, but he scheduled a biopsy just to be sure. Bizarre. Adjective. Strange, incomprehensible, deviating from what is expected or in the rational order of things. See for comparison the entry for bizarre. As the drug began to take effect, Bill began to make bizarre remarks about large insects and dancing toasters. Blithe. Adjective. Cheerful or merry in disposition, carefree or indifferent. A person who is blithe is unconcerned with petty cares or problems. Rod dismissed the accountant's objection with a blithe wave of the hand. Bloc. Noun. A group of persons or nations with various political beliefs united for a common cause. Former Eastern Bloc countries include Poland and Hungary. Bludgeon. A verb and noun. To beat. As a noun, a bludgeon is a short, heavy stick. To bludgeon someone is to beat or strike him with a similar instrument. The detectives concluded that the victim had been bludgeoned repeatedly with a metal pipe. Bluster. Verb. To threaten swaggeringly or issue extravagant threats. Bluster is related to the same old word from which blow, as in wind blows, is derived. He seems fierce at first, but you must remember that he depends largely on blustering to get his way. Bougie. Verb and noun. In golf, to post a score of 1 strike over par on a hole, an instance of such a score, Jeff bougieed on the 14th hole. Boisterous. Adjective. Characterized by being noisy and out of control. The bar's boisterous crowd made it difficult to carry on a conversation. Bolster. Verb. To strengthen, support, or prop up. Since Rhonda is a news junkie, she's always able to bolster with facts her opinions about world events. Bombarded. Verb. Under attack. Also peppered with queries, problems, accusations, etc. Doing the final class before the midterm exam, Professor Strang was bombarded with questions from her panicky students. Bombast. Noun. Haughty, overblown, or pompous talk or writing. Someone who engages in bombast indulges a taste for an exaggerated rhetorical style. We expect a compelling argument from our attorney, but he came to court offering little more than bombast. Born. Verb. Carried in term in childbirth, given birth. See for comparison the entry for born. My son David was born at about 4 p.m. Born. Verb. Supported, carry, brought forth, or produced. See for comparison the entry for born. Born is the past participle of the verb to bear in all senses that do not involve childbirth. Bough. Noun. A branch of a tree. The boughs of the apple tree hung heavy with fruit. Bout. Noun. A contest or fight. Also something that lasts a short time. I quickly got over that bout of fever I picked up during my cruise. Bow. Verb. To bend low, to yield. The Japanese ambassador bowed in the direction of the prime minister. Break. Verb. To control or stop. The car's braking ability was truly remarkable. It felt as though I could stop on a dime. Brash. Adjective. Impudent, hasty. Something done impudently and quickly is brash. Brash can also refer to a certain zesty or irrelevant quality that may seem as refreshing. The action you have taken is brash. You will regret your recklessness. Brazen. Adjective. Bold or shameless in display. Unconcerned with the reaction of others. None of us understood how Julia and Ted, each of whom is married, could have been so brazen about their romance. Breadth. Noun. The side-to-side extent of something with expanse. See for comparison the entry for breadth. The alley was so narrow that my car had a clearance of perhaps 2 inches beyond its breadth on either side. Breath. Noun. The process and act of breathing. Inhalation or exhalation. See for. Take a deep breath. I'm about to give you some bad news. Brooch. Noun. An ornamental pin, usually large. Christmas just wouldn't be Christmas without Aunt Gertrude in her green flowered dress and ruby brooch. Brunt. Noun. The primary impact of a blow. The brunt of an attack is the point of its main force. If there is a war, rest assured that it is our country that will be asked to bear the brunt of it. Buffalo. Verb. When used as a verb, the familiar animal means to baffle thoroughly. I was completely buffaloed by Karen's angry response to my courteous greeting. Bulbous. Adjective. Shaped like a bulb or bloated. One looked at my bulbous shape in the 3-way mirror convinced me to join a gym right away. Bull. Noun and verb. In addition to the animal, the word has a number of meanings. As a noun, a bull is someone who buys stocks expecting a price rise. It also denotes a formal proclamation by the Pope. As an adjective, bull means to act without force or to engage in idle, boastful talking. The bouncer bullied his way through the crowd to remove the man who was causing a disturbance. Burqa, noun, a complete enveloping outer garment worn by women in some Islamic tradition. Even though she is becoming thoroughly Americanized, Amina continues faithfully to wear her burqa. Burnish, verb. To make shiny or lustrous due to rubbing or polishing. Every day, Sam lovingly burnishes his custom purple paint job. Butte, noun, a solitary hill on a large plain. The mission was situated atop a lonely-looking butte outside of town. Cajole, verb, to coax, to persuade by using flattery. To wheedle, my brother's efforts to cajole me out of my allowance by reminding me that I would be a rich superstar in big league baseball someday were in vain. Callus, noun, a hardened patch of skin. George had developed a callus on his forefinger from his constant guitar playing. Calzone, an Italian food resembling a turnover made by wrapping meat, cheese, or vegetables in dough. We asked Aunt Joan if she would bring her famous steak and cheese calzone to the party. Canopy, noun, an appetizer made by spreading meat, fish, or cheese on a small piece of toasted bread. While the guests waited for the bridal party, waiters strolled through the reception area with a tray of champagne and canopies. Candor, noun, openness or honesty. Someone who speaks directly or openly without equivocation or double talk can be said to speak with candor. Let me say with all candor that I did not look forward to coming here today. Cannon, noun, a weapon used to fire large metal projectiles. The thunderous sound of cannons being fired resonated across the valley. Canvas, noun, a type of coarse cloth. Many of Van Gogh's works were destroyed and sold as scrap canvas. Canvas, verb, to solicit support, opinions, votes, etc. Virgil and I spent all Sunday walking around the city, canvassing for our candidate. Capital, noun, a city designated as a seat of government. Also economic resources. Also excellent. In Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, the three branches of government make their formal headquarters. Capitalize, verb, to draw an advantage from. Also in business terms, capitalize can mean funding a business or converting a business's value to personal income. By capitalizing on the candidate's mistakes, her opponent managed to win the election. Capitol, noun, the building in which a legislature meets. One of the highlights of our trip to Washington was our visit to the Capitol building. Capitulate, verb, to accede to a demand for surrender. Someone who yields a point under dispute can be said to capitulate the other party. The ambassador has been instructed to show flexibility on cultural exchanges, but not to capitulate when it came to trade issues. Alright guys, so that was part 2. This was a pretty long book, so maybe I can read a little more to you guys next time. Only on page 26 of 443.